Hello, everybody, and welcome today to our session. Thank you very much for your votes, right, through the QPress sponsored by Soft Academy. Now, according to your votes that is received through the Soft Academy email, we have seen that the strategy had took about the 12%, right, more than the other parameters. So we're gonna be providing with a session, right? We're going to discuss about the strategy of agility and agile that is being used, adopted into the market in the common days. And we're going to express view through from the point of view from PMI ACP exam, the first unit of it, and explaining about the agile. So I hope this session will be of your great will, right? And we hope that that you will be continuing with us with other courses in the other chapters of by obtaining a course from Soft Academy through the ACP exam. So let's get started with the first chapter of Agile, Introduction to ACP and Agile. Thank you. Right, so we're going to be starting today, and according to your votes, right, we're going to be discussing about the Agile, which is considered a new technique in project management, it's a mindset and manifesto, right? And that is the way how to respond to our customer from different parameters and how to meet his requirements and business need. Now, the course is given from the perspectives of PMI ACP, right, courses. So for those whom they are interested for attaining the exam for the Agile Certified Practitioner, so it will be very helpful. Otherwise, who would like just to attain the knowledge, it will be perfect for them, so they can apply it in their projects. Right, so first of all, when we discuss about the Agile, right, Agile, it is more of a philosophy. Now, we need to make the distinction in between the word or the phrase agile and agility, right? There's a big difference. Agile, it's a philosophy, right? While agility, it's a mindset. It is something that you need to have system thinking on it and users thinking, right? In the way, the best way, the practice and the best knowledge and the skills that you can adapt all together in a collaborative way so that you are able to raise up your customer satisfaction and meet his business need. Now, the characteristics of Agile, right, is that it's being considered a lightweight, right, adaptive as compared to traditional Waterfall, which was heavy, right, and was considered that it is considered for big projects which takes long time and long durations, right. You need to know as well that the Agile, right, as a concept, right, or as a manifesto, it employs all of the practices and the tools and the techniques, right, and the cultures in such that it collaborates the business and the technology all together by using what we call an IID, iterative incremental delivery, right? And that is basically the iterative. It means that you have a deep understanding of the requirement, right, and then you started to increment it, that you develop it, right, and then you deliver to the customer for rechecking, and if he has significant factor of a change required, it is being evaluated in the spot, right, and the change is being done after reconsideration approval. Right, so when it comes to the Agile, it is being considered a journey far more than a destiny, right? The Agile, it is actually does have multiple arms. It has children. It's Agile is a family. It has a lot of children. Those we have the Scrum, right? We do have the extreme programming. We do have the feature-driven, the campaign, Crystal family, and the Lean. Now, when it comes to Scrum, right, Scrum, it is similar to the American football Scrum team, whom they are colliding all together. They run, they try to score a goal. Now, which should have been taken from that perspectives of team players whom they are collaborative, right, from the American football, and trying to attain a score in their opponent. Now, the Scrum, it is being considered a lightweight right? And it is being considered as well. It takes an iteration release of a month, 2 to 4 weeks. It does throughout its process. It does include sprint retrospective, right? And sprint retrospective, it means that there is always a after each iteration, there's a cooperation in between the product team, the product owner, and the agile team, as well as the scrum master and the project manager. They all meet together, right, in order to look for the lessons learned that they have undertaken right from that iteration, and they can apply it on the next sprint or the next iteration. As well, it does have a sprint review meeting, or we call it sometimes a stand-up meeting, that is about 15 to 20 minutes, right? Or at the most 25 minutes in daily basis. So in order to know what the teams has been achieved, what are the obstacles they're having, all stuff, right? And as well, that we do have as well the extreme programming, right? It is different a little bit than from the Scrum. It takes an iteration from almost 1 to 3 weeks, right? It does include a TDD, test-driven design testing, right? Extreme programming, it as well encourage for pair programming, that is the different two or more than two developers who can be completing up the writing up the code, and everyone is just continuing the rest of the code. So it's a pair programming. Feature driven development, it is another way is that the team, they meet with the client and they deliver him feature by feature, and it takes from 1 to 2 weeks. So the client, right, or the we can say the product owner or the customer himself, right, he whatever changes needs on that simple feature, it will be easily elaborated and it will be done. Kanban, it uses the technique of Kanban boards, and that's the to-do list, right? So the if we're using the non-automated technique, so you have a whiteboard or a blackboard and you place up the just the yellow stickers on it with the activities, and it is being as well the tasks have been set for the tasks to be done, and the tasks that are in progress, and the tasks that needs to be tested. So you will be able to know where is the movement of the tasks that have been completed, they have been done, they had been in progress, they have been reconsidered, right, in testing, right? And from that phenomenon, you'll be able, your team, to know where are their tasks, what they need to are allocated to. If you're using softwares, right, you can use in the TFS Team Foundation server, in Jira, in as well Slack. There are different tools that can be used for the Agile, the Kanban boards, right? Crystal family, it's another technique, right, that uses crystal yellow, crystal family, crystal yellow, crystal orange, or crystal green, and that is basically you're specifying a different sort of your teams. For example, when I was at orascomlink.net, right, we had adopted the crystal family, right, in the form of, we had a team called for the DSL, we call them the Tigers. We had the team what we call them the Cougar, right? And we do have other teams who are slow, right? We call them the Turtles, right? So based on that, right, we had to consider, for example, we need now a big hectic load of work, and that's what we're going to consider the Cougar, or we're going to consider the let's say the Tiger or the Turtles for small projects, right, based on the efficiency and performance. And that what causes the motivation to the team, so that the Turtles, they can move into Cougar, right, or they can join the team of Cougar or the Tigers, and that throws up a competition in between the teams, and that's what leads up to quick delivery with high quality. Lean, it's used for manufacturing purposes, and lean, it focuses basically on the value streaming map, right? So I'm considering I need to have my most aim is just not to deliver to the customer, but I need to have a value. Consider, for example, manufacturing of doors, right? And when you manufacture those, you use a sample testing. So out of this sample testing, you need to make sure that the width and the height, right, or the breadth and the width, right, they are being accurate standard measurements for the formation of the door, right? So you need to make sure that you provide a value of the same sizes and you need to minimize your waste as much as possible, and that's what lean it focuses upon. So as we have considered the agile and the agility, so the agile, right, as we said, it's a philosophy, while agility, it's being considered as a manifesto, right, and a mindset. So the mindset here, if we are in the industry, so we need to, the best practice that will able to meet the customer requirement, increase the customer satisfaction, to make profits, to have a high return investment, as if we are a vendor side, right? And as well, we need the repetition of our company to keep on growing from the customer side, right? So we're talking another way from B2C, right? And as well, we might consider, right, C2C, customer to customer. That is, we have a lead customer, right, who will say, well, that vendor company is doing a perfect job with a different practice, right? And we do recommend that you work with them, right? Now, when it comes from the manifesto right here, it returns me back. The Agile actually it was introduced in 13/11/2001 at the Ludger Foster Hotel in USA, right, in which there were great project managers and product manager philosophers. We all met together in order to find the best way and to build a mindset, right, that will enable us to deliver to our client with high satisfaction. At that time, when they had their meeting, there was Alistair Cockburn, one of them, and John King and Kent Black, right? Some of the names that I remember, right? And they all have formed all together, and they had to say, okay, so we are using traditional waterfall, and if the client he needs to perform a certain change, it needs to go into a change request form, and then we have to evaluate the scope, the time, the budget, the quality, the risks, and the resource that will be assigned onto it, in which it takes a long way, and that will causes the customer to panic and he start to get frustrated, right? And we might lose the project, right? So from here, the concept said we need a way, a mindset that to change the factor and say, well, instead of having a customer who we are dealing with him, right, as a customer, no, we need him to be our partner. He is the part of the solution, right? So the thinking it came from here, and they had to develop a team was called the APLN in 2005. That's called the Agile Project Lead Network. And they had all to discuss all together the best way to how to deliver to a customer. And we need to have, more importantly, a name. So the names that were in their thoughts is that they had the agile, they had the adaptive approach, they had the transparency. But all they have collided all together by using their expertise, right? And they had choose the mindset to become agile, and that's the word philosophy, and the agility, right? And that's the mindset, right? And they had formed a change into 4 important parameters. So in other words, right, during the traditional waterfall, right, we were all focused and tuned onto the tools and the techniques we're going to use, right? So for example, what are the tools I'm going to use? I'm going to use only MS Project, I'm going to use Primavera, I'm going to use, for example, Jira, I'm going to use, what is the tool, right? I'm going to use, what are the techniques, right? I need to have the charter, and then I have to get the scope document, scope statement, and then I have to get the project plan documents, and then so we have to develop from the software development life cycle, we need to have the business specification documents, and then we have to get the PDD, physical design document, and then we have to deliver, and then we have to build the business case scenarios for the testing project. So a lot of hectic flows, right? So the more focus here for that point to be changed, it's important, but it doesn't come first. So as you know, first thing comes first. So when first thing comes first, so individual and interaction is being considered the most important thing. That's the thrill of it. That's the fuel that's going to make the work, right? So individuals, humans, right, and their interaction to have a collaboration between, they can then use the tools and techniques, right, and they will be able to suggest what is the best tools and techniques to be used. The other thing is that we, instead of having comprehensive documentations, that is paperwork, charter, scope document, and then at the end, the customer finds that he had paid the first down payment only for such a bundle of papers. No, we're going to give you a working software. And that was he looking at the end. I need the application that will make my life easy. The work, do I have the inventory that is being items, I don't know items, how they're being entered or getting outside using the FIFO or the LIFO. I don't know the purchase, I don't know the supply chain, the manufacturing. So all of these tools are going to help you. And he needs the working software. He needs to be online directly. And instead of keeping contract negotiations, and we use the negotiation tactics, the confrontations, the compromising, the forcing and all the stuff. No, we're going to have you as being part of the joining the team, and you'll be one of our partners, customer collaboration, right? Instead of building a follow-up plan, and that's what always I say, it's not important in building a plan, but it's more important how we're going to execute the plan. That's here the tragedy, right? Many of us knows how to build a plan, but you fail how to execute that plan, right? So instead of keep on building a plan, you do need to build a plan, but a simple plan, right? And you should be able to know how to respond to the change. So the customer says, well, I think that needs to be done that way. So we don't say to him, well, no, we're not going to do it. No, you need to respond. You need to be flexible. Again, you have to go evaluation. Okay. It doesn't, any change, I'll go ahead and do it. Now, if it's a trivial, something small, yes, I can do it. Right. For example, if he needs to change a font color, it's easy. It's okay. Right. If he needs to change the layout, it's something which is not so hard. Right. But look at the CSS, right? So I will do it for him, like a Cascade style sheet. So being always agile, right? So as we said that, what is agile? So agile, as we said, that it's a philosophy and it's a mindset. In a mindset that builds us a way how to deliver to our customers in a more linear fashion, right? And it collaborates in between the individual first comes first over the process and tools. The working software is our first thing that comes over the comprehensive documentation, customer cooperation over the contract negotiation, responding to a change instead of following a plan. Besides the four parameters that the team of APLN, the philosophers they had built, they as well have to put a policy and procedures that we call them the Agile policy and procedure, the 12 Agile principles. Now, the 12 Agile principles say that our salute or our main important thing is that to satisfy the customer, right? And then we need to welcome for the change, right? And as well, we have what we call a frequent delivery, right? And then we need to work all together, right? Trust and support. There must be having a trust between the team. Face-to-face conversation, it is builds a rapport of communication and trust. Working software is a seventh thing. So it's most important, right, is that we have a working software. We need to have a sustainable development, right? And that is sustainable development. That means when I say that iteration, it takes up to a month, it should be in a month, right? And again, the team who are being adaptive to do that work, they will continue with the same rhythm and they will keep on delivering with a similar technique. Continuous attention, right? So attention, it means right here, you need to be active listening for every small thing the customer says. And you should be as well to your manager, right? Directions, right? And how to deliver as soon as possible. Things, if you make it simple, becomes more easier. Now, all the teams who are organized from internally self-esteem, right? And they are professional in their career, they are the ones who will be able to decide what is the best practice to do. For example, if I'm an architect, I will be able to give you a good advice on the best practice, right, in designing the software or designing of the system based on broad experience. Similarly, in project management, I'll be able to give you the best way and the technique to deliver to your customer satisfaction at a lower price and at a to be under budget, and as well to be ahead of time, right, and with a scope maintained and risk being at a minimum. Reflect and adjust And it's very important that whenever you have a change request, you're able to evaluate it from time and scope and time, and you were able to adjust in a team collaborative way, considering the customer and the stakeholders, which is the product owner. He is one of the team. So those are the 12 agile principles. Now, when we have discussed about the Ken Pethalek cluster, which we have met at the Foster Hotel in 2001, right, at the J. Roger Foster Hotel in USA, right, they have came with what we call the Declaration of Interdependency, the DOI, right, and that's about the Agile Project Lead Network. They had formed a team called the APLN 2005, and they were of group of project managers and product management, and they have built up to 6 important principles based on the Agile Manifesto. They had said in their manifesto, right, it's important that for the project management and the product management and generally management, they need to consider, first of all, the increase of return in investment, right? It is being considered how to increase the wealth of the organizations or the after investment, right? The return investment. It is by focusing on what you need to achieve. So focus will able to let you will enable you to make a good return investment. Number 2 is that as well, we deliver reliable results by engaging customer collaboration. It's very important that the customer, he is one of the team. He's a partnership to us. So we need to treat him as being a collaborative part of the team. In his interaction and shared ideas, we all collide together and we deliver all together. We are all the same ship, in other words. Risks and uncertainties, right? The best way in order, right, and according to the APLN team of philosophers, they say the best way in order that to sustain and retain the uncertainty of the risk, how to, when it triggers, how to respond to it, it is through iteration, right? And through anticipation that you work on that problem. And adaptation is that you, as we said, that the beauty of Agile is that you get an adaptive process and you work on it in a rhythm, in the way you deliver, right? Now, again, self-organizing teams, creativity, right? They're inspired from the profession of experience, right? And that will make a big difference when you maintain and deliver to your client. Performance, in order to talk about performance and speeding up, it comes only through achievement and accountability of results, right? And when you have your team, they are all sharing the responsibility. Everyone, he is being delegated to be responsible for delivering the scope, the project, and the success of the organization by increasing the market share, in other words. So efficiency and effectiveness, reliability, right, it is getting improved. So having a strategy, a specific strategy and a process and a practice, when the three of them, they collide, right, the strategy, a specific strategy that you utilize to achieve your vision, your mission, and your goals and the objectives, right, in order to meet your customer requirements, okay, and you have a certain process you follow and a practice you utilize, then you will be able to reach to your client in a more easy fashion manner. So the process when it comes to Agile, right, it works in a different way as compared to traditional waterfall. So as we said, that you do have a minimum planning that is being performed. Directly you build up the design, right? You deploy on a staging server, right? And that's a testing server. And then after you perform the deployment, you need your testing team to keep on testing the application, web application, to make sure that it's working right. And your customer needs to look over it, right? Which could be your product owner, right? And or the delegate, or those being delegated from the customer side. And then if there are changes needs to be done, if let's say you've done a TDD, tested driven design, so you need to after the changes are being refixed, right? And now what we call it in project management, the JERT, geographical evaluation review technique, right? And that is the process that you have done. For example, I've done here the designing, so the designing goes back again, designing team, so that they perform the changes. And then you need to go back again and deploy a new version on the staging server. You build up your test, right? If the test is succeeded, then you need to go and deploy onto the production server to your client so they can work immediately until you start with the second sprint, and you keep on moving, and then you integrate with the first release sprint. Now, remember that when we talk about the Agile value-driven, okay, you need to know that the releases, right, in Agile are being set up to be decomposed into sprints or iterations, right? And you need to know that if we have similar sprints or similar iterations, a sprint is an iteration, it's the same thing, just to differentiate. We call them a theme. If we have similar iterations or several theme, they're placed under the anchor, or we call them a theme. Rather than that, both of them, they are being decomposed from an iteration into an epic, right? And an epic is something in traditional we call it as a work package, right? And then the epic is being decomposed further into user stories. So the way you're going to express and explain the story of how you're going to form the work. And then the user story is being decomposed further into an activity list, right? So that's the decomposition of the activity tasks using the Agile. Compared to the traditional waterfall, which is a plan-driven, we do have sequential activities undertaken. So we have a heavy planning, right? And then we go heavy building the design document, right? So we have the physical design document. We have the to build as well the screens, okay? The prototype, right? And the prototype either could be dynamic or static prototype, based on the way you're gonna. And then you build, you develop your product, you perform the test. You need to perform your functional testing, you perform your smoke testing, you perform your regression testing, you perform feature testing. There's a lot of tests. You need to go to the PUC team, and then you need to perform the correction, see the jerk I'm talking about, and then you perform the retesting, and then you deploy onto the first on the staging, and then onto the production, whatever. So it's a long process that it takes. So whatever, considering if the customer came and said, well, I need to change in the design, you will say to him, well, it needs to go to the change request form, and then we will evaluate, and then you negotiate with the customer for the price and the time, and then you have to start looking how we're going to change on your, if it's in the software, in your database, on your design, and on how it's going to reflect onto the application. So it's a long process. Again, it's not bad, but traditional waterfall, as I always say, it works only for big projects, right? For a long time duration projects. Agile is perfect for a small projects. Again, if my customer is a type of a changer, he keeps on changing, then Agile will be perfect fit for him. If the customer, right, if let's say that the customer, he does not know what are the requirements, so traditional waterfall will not be perfect. Agility will be better because you will start using feature by feature by using the FDD, feature driven, right? And then you will explain it to him and show it to him, right, in that way. So both of them, they are perfect. Today, we're using the hybrid. We might use in the first part, the first release, and a traditional waterfall. In the next part, I'll be using the Agile. Let's say if the requirements are known at the beginning, but the end, I don't know how it's going to, another module going to be integrated. So I don't know, have information about it. So I will use Agile. But the first part, I will be using the traditional waterfall. I'll be using the sequential, right? The spiral technique, right? So all they're perfect. Today, we're adopting the hybrid. So, and here's the point, is that a lot of market today, well, you're still applying the traditional waterfall. Oh, that's bad. You should be going through Agile. No, you should be using the RPM, result-based management, that's used by UN, United Nations, right? So it's not a point of whether to use Agile or whether to use Waterfall. It is about the sort of the project. If, as I said, I was saying that if the project is well known to us, then Waterfall will be great. If the project is not known, the requirements are not clear, there's ambiguities, right? So Agile will be perfect. In all times, when we have the traditional waterfall and the customer doesn't know what he needs, we just sign with him a customer and principal contract, right? And it means that every research we're gonna do, you're gonna pay for us. So you find that the customer is paying a lot of money at the end, right? And nothing he gets at the end, right? So that's the point, right? And from here, the phenomena, you need to decide which is the best methodology, whether we use the Agile or Waterfall for the sort of project and the type of the project and the size of the project. As well, I would say from my side, I would use the best practice, right? I might use part from Agile as a hybrid, and then I will use part from result-based management, and then I'll be using from the from different parts, right? For example, when I was in rascomling.net, right, we had a methodology with the team to perform at every sprint or we have what we call V&V for try and validate, right? And all the team, they needs to be collaborated. Even the team leader of the QC, the team leader of the development, the architect, all of them. And then the handover goes to the system analyst. And from the system analyst, it goes into the, again, another meeting, V&V. And the process becomes easy and delivery and satisfaction is high, which we have seen. Now, again, so here it shows us the Stacy diagram. Here what the answer is the question, when to use Agile and when to use traditional waterfall. So if the things are being simple, right, so waterfall is being recommended. If things are complicated, right, then Agile would get satisfied, okay? If things becomes complex, Agile suite would be spot. But if things are out of reach, neither would work, right? That means if no contribution, there is no requirements at all, so what we're gonna develop, right? So for example, in other words, I have seen projects, right? A customer said, well, I need to build a student information system application, right? So what are the requirements? Well, you need to surf the internet and look for different applications on the internet and then try to copycat from each one and build the solution. It doesn't work that way, right? That's not business, right? Business, you need to have your customer, you have to get requirements because every tailored solution is being tailored based on the sort of business you're working on, right? Right, so the formation of the team, when we have discussed the Scrum team, you need to know that they are formed up from 3 to 9 development team, right? And that's from the development team. And we can see that from the development team, we do have the pretty Scrum Master, right? Who directs and manages the team and provides with facilitation to the development team, to the QC teams, and as well engage into the sprint review meeting and the stand-up meeting, and forms as well the stand-up meeting with the team, and reports back to the project management onto the progress they're performing, right? And the project management, he had to the business side with the stakeholders of the project and says, well, how things are going and how things are delivering and what are the forecast, the status, and the progress reports that are being given, right, that have been fed up from the Scrum team, okay? Now, our oversight from the difference between traditional waterfall and Agile project management. Now, remember that in traditional, right, we are focused, the features in traditional sense, so it's a straightforward project with requirement, so the features are being fixed. And it's a plan driven. So since it's a plan driven, you might find the resources, they could be frequent flyers, so they could be changed from time to time. And the schedule, it can be slipped, right, or it could be changed from time to time. While versus the Agile, you will find that the resources and the schedule, it is being fixed, right? And that's what we call adaptive approach, okay? And sustained development, right? And it's more of a value driven, okay? But the feature, it's being variable. That could be a feature if you're using a feature driven or using the Scrum. We might perform changes onto it's a change driven, and you respond to that change from feature to feature based on evaluating scope time that's at minimum. Right, so let's have some questions, right, from your side and think about it. Which of the following is an Agile manifesto value? Now, when it comes to answer the ACP questions, there are different ways, right? You need either to eliminate the questions or before looking onto the answer, try to think. So we know that there are four, if we're thinking, right, there are four Agile manifesto values which have been developed by the APL network. And those are the individual and interaction over the tools and techniques, right? And we do have as well the customer collaboration, right, instead of contract negotiation. And we have responded to a change instead of following the plan, and working software over comprehensive documentation. So that's the first. So let's look onto it. So individual interaction over contract negotiation, it's wrong, right? Working software over comprehensive documentation, yeah, yep, it could be. Customer collaboration of process tools, no, that's not. That goes with the individual interaction. Working software process tool, so the answer is as most familiar with, it's B. The second question, which is valued more, process and tools, right? So here we talks about what is the overwhelmed of, instead of having the replacement of process and tools, right? So as we know, it's from the first side is individual interaction, working software, customer cooperation, responding change. So of course it's A, it's going to be individual and interaction. The third question is, which of the following Agile manifesto values deals most closely with the work in progress? So we need to know work in progress, right? Is it individual interaction over over process and tools, working software of comprehensive communication, customer conversation of contract negotiation, respond to a following change? Of course, it's going to be, since it's in progress, so you need a working software over comprehensive documentation, right? Because it's work, it's achievement, something that the customer looks for at the end, that it's what he has paid for. Right, the fourth question, where do you plan to take your ACP? So Soft Academy, right, will be the right place for you, right? Through the phone, you can contact us, and we do give our courses over the WebEx, right, or through Zoom, right, or on site, as if your best preference to you, right? And we are always there for you for 24/7 for any questions you have until you go and pass the exam. And we don't leave you after you pass the certification. We are with you for any recommendations at your work, consultations, right? We're mentoring you, right, through your work and provide you with consultancy. Thank you very much for your great time and listening to us, right? I hope this session of your gate well, and hope to see you in further topics. Don't forget to provide with your votes for other topics and send through the email, right, or through the comment boxes of either the Facebook, LinkedIn, or the YouTube, and we will respond back to you. Thank you very much and have a nice